better make this important with you. You take what you like, and the things that don't fit in your system, it's okay. And you know how we really grow as professionals? Is being able to argue and defend not only the things that we do, but the things that we don't do. I just told you that I don't have players run 2 miles. I hope that I didn't imply that that means one way is right and one way is wrong, because I didn't mean it to come out that way. I'm not saying running 2 miles is wrong. I'm saying that I choose not to do it because I don't believe in it. And that's really all that matters with my players. If you coach here and you say, you're crazy, my players run 2 miles every other day and we've won the last 50 Euro championships, great, it's working for you and you believe it. By all means, please keep doing it. So I'm not here to show you what's right and what's wrong. I'm here to share with you what has worked for me and what I believe in very, very passionately, and then you need to decide whether that works for you. And then lastly, and most importantly, I want you to look at the stuff I share with you and figure out a way to tweak it. How can you take one drill and I want you to tweak it so that it becomes your drill? A vast majority of the stuff I'm going to share with you today, I've stolen from somebody else. Pure, I've taken it from someone else. And that's why I'm so free in giving. I want to share all this stuff with you guys, because I didn't come up with any of it. I'm only 40 years old, like I'm still trying to be young. I'm only 40 years old. I didn't invent any of this stuff. Basketball's been played a lot longer than I've been breathing, so I didn't invent any of this stuff. I see things and I like things and I steal things and I try to tweak them to make them mine, and then I share them with the next coach. I pass them on to the next person. So the only thing that ever limits us as coaches is our imagination and creativity. You know, they talk about thinking outside of the box. You've heard that phrase before? Whose box is it? You put yourself in a box. First of all, I don't even see a box. Nobody's putting me in a box. But if you're in any type of proverbial box or mental box, it's because you've put yourself in it. And don't be in a box. Or if you're going to be in one, just make sure the lid's open so you can get out anytime that you need. But I want you to look at these drills and go, okay, Alan's doing this drill. I like that. What if he did this? What if I did this? He's doing it with a hand sign. What if I did it with a verbal cue? He's doing it with a tennis ball. What if I do it with a basketball? And I want you to think of those types of things and always make sure that you're stimulating your mind. Because as human beings, we are always happiest when we're growing, when we're developing. That's what makes us the happiest. So you have to make sure that you are constantly pushing that envelope. Because then it'll show in your coaching. It'll show in the passion of everything that you do. All right, I'm starting to foam at the mouth. That means that's when enough of that. You guys stay up. Can everybody hear me okay? So I don't have to put the... Yeah. So I'm not in one direction. I don't want to wear this thing. That's not me. I like just talking. Is that cool? Everybody can hear me? All right. Performance work. I'm very interested in the mental side of stuff. The stuff that Spencer does not only helps players, it helps me as a human being, helps me as a coach. So I've studied that stuff, but I don't know it a fraction as well as he does. You're going to see Drew later today doing the skill stuff. I have an understanding of skill work because I've been around some of the best in the world and I've been taught, but I don't have a fraction of the expertise that Drew Hanlon has in skill work. So I've learned to stay in my lane. So I'm going to stay with performance stuff, but occasionally you'll see things, I'll dip my toe into what Spencer does, I'll dip my toe into what Drew does. Right now we're going to work on some offhand development. You know why? Because to be a great basketball athlete, you have to be able to use both hands equally well. You have to be able to go in both directions equally well. So if a player does not, if they're not able to use their offhand in the game of basketball, then they're not a very good basketball athlete. So here's what we're going to do. You guys come out. Is everybody right-handed? Right hand? Okay, you're right here. One of you is going to stand right here, and one of you stand on the other side. You just need one ball. And you guys are going to do the same thing. So one of you stand right here, one of you stand right there. You guys do the same thing. You just need one ball. Are you guys all right-handed? Okay. Which means for the next few minutes, just put your right hand behind your back. You're not going to use your right hand at all. This is all offhand development. And you're going to pass back and forth. Now, where do you want him to throw you the ball? You put up your hand wherever you want. This is the target. You're going to hit my hand right here. Yep. And I'm not going to use my other hand. I'm going to catch here, and I'm going to constantly move my feet. Sometimes I'll throw opposite, sometimes I'll throw the same, sometimes I'll throw parallel, so I'm going to throw back to you. And I want you dancing, moving your feet, yeah, go. Yep, dance, come on, dance, there you go, good. Get them right in the target. Okay, you guys go ahead. One time on the target. Get them right in the hand. Move your feet. I will say this, and this is a compliment to you guys, and when I say you guys, I'm talking about Europe in general. Your players at each age level are much more skilled than our players in the United States. Without question, your players are much more skilled. we tend to sometimes have better athletes, and sometimes our athletes rest on the fact that they're bigger, stronger, and faster than everyone else, so they don't work on skills. I don't know how old these kids are, but they're doing a really good job. If this was in the United States with the same age kid, these damn balls would be flying all over the place because they don't have the requisite skills that your players have. That's why if America, if we would as a group, would get rid of some of our collective arrogance and listen to what you guys are doing here, man, we'd be killing it over there. Okay, this time, you're going to pound one time. So you're going to pass to me. 1 pound, pass. 1 pound, pass. 1 pound, pass. Oh, that was a bad pass. Hey, that was my fault. Try. All right, 1 pound, pass. 1 pound, 1 pound. You got to throw the ball. Look at the target. Hand up. Look at the target. Now, I told you that I'm going to move some things very quickly in between talking to you. We might go 1 straight minute of pass, then 1 straight minute of pound pass. Now, guys, pound twice. 1, 2, pass. 1, 2. 3 straight minutes on your offhand. Shoulder is going to be fried. Shoulder is going to be really, really tired. 2 pounds. And hold. And just so these kids can appreciate it, you guys give them a hand. That was exclusively using their offhand. Now we'll go offhand dominant. So when you get the ball, so you're going to catch, you're going to pound, cross, still pass. The only time, yeah, no, you were right. The only time your strong hand hits it is on the cross. So we're going to go pound, cross, pass. Go ahead. Pound, cross, pass. Make sure you're moving your feet. Every time, move your feet. Every time, move your feet. Right now, you as coaches probably can pick up on it. Yeah, someone just whispered the word communication. That's what's missing right now. Nobody's talking. Now, I don't expect you guys to talk. We're pretending that you're not here for a second. You guys need to be talking. Now, I understand there's a language barrier between you and me, but you guys speak the same language, right? Yeah, okay, that's all that matters. You guys don't care if you know what I'm saying. Just make sure you know what each other's saying. Now, here's why a practice or a workout it can't ever possibly be quiet. I give instructions. There's only 2 things he can do with those instructions. What are the 2 things he can do with those instructions? He can do them correctly or he can do them incorrectly. There is no gray area. It's incorrect or it's correct. If your partner, your teammate, your brother, your friend is doing it correctly, you need to praise them. That which gets praised gets repeated. Great pass. Nice job. That's an awesome pass. Oh, you put a lot on that. If they're doing what I asked incorrectly, then I need to make sure that they're coaching each other. They're helping each other. Coach Stein said not to make a bounce pass. Don't make a bounce pass. Coach Stein, move your feet. Keep moving your feet. So we want to make sure that the practice can never be silent. You're either telling the person next to you what they're doing well and you're praising them, or you're telling them what they need to improve on and you're helping coach them. And as far as that goes, you need to learn how to talk to a teammate, not talk at a teammate. They're not the same thing. I want to talk to a teammate because I trust them, they trust me, and I want to make them better. Because if I can make this guy better, our whole team gets better. Our whole team gets better, we all accomplish what we want to accomplish. If you attack somebody and you make them defensive, then they're not going to want to get better, and the wheels come off the whole wagon. So we want to make sure you guys are constantly talking, and you talk in whatever language you feel comfortable. This time, you're going to catch, you're going to bounce, step forward, between the legs, and then fire off a pass. Go ahead. Talk, guys, talk. Talk. Now, normally, I would make sure that I know every player's name. But judging by some of the street signs I've seen here, your words are like this wrong. I have no idea about the other their names. Names at the mouth are pretty easy. You got real short names. So I don't want to butcher any of their names. What's another level to this drill you think you could do? What's something else you can do from a ball handling standpoint? I want you to have some ownership. Behind the back. Let me see it. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go right to it. Pound. Behind the back. Behind the back. I like the way you're thinking. Nice job. Go ahead. Behind the back twice. Make sure you're using your offhand. You always want to get ownership of what you're doing from your players. You want to ask your players constantly for feedback, but give them some ownership. That doesn't mean that they write your practice plan. That doesn't mean just because they don't like a drill, you're going to remove it. But the more ownership and buy-in you can get from them, the better. That's what we're all in the business of, is getting buy-in from our players. You guys hold this one second. All right, so does anybody here want the secret to coaching? You want the secret to coaching? I got it for you. You make sure that everything you do is both challenging and engaging. If your players are having fun, they will give you better effort. If your players give you better effort consistently, they will get better, which is what you wanted in the first place. So the old adage that I'm the drill sergeant, I'm the old cranky person with the clipboard and the whistle, we're going to do things my way or F you, doesn't work. It doesn't work with kids in today's day and age, and it certainly doesn't work in the United States. It's in our best interest as coaches to get kids to do things that they like to do. Because any of us give a better effort when we're doing things we like to do. Right now, most of you are paying attention because you love the game of basketball and you believe that what myself and Drew and Spencer and Rick can share with you will help you. If I was up here right now talking about 1800s American history, man, you guys would either be sleeping or you'd get out the door because you have no passion for that. You don't care about that. But it's the same thing with your players. The more stuff you can do that gets them to buy in and have fun and challenges them, the better the result. And that, as coaches, I literally believe is the secret. Because we can talk about X's and O's all you want. I have a million different drills I can share with you. But if you cannot make a human connection with your players, if you cannot get your players to smile, to have fun, to dive on the floor for you, then it really doesn't matter what the X's and O's say. I mean, you write anything you want on a clipboard. If you have kids that don't give a shit, it doesn't matter. So you've got to get players to buy in. You've got to get them to have fun. And that was a great, you nailed it right there. All right, here's what we're going to do. You four are going to go down towards this basket. You four go down to that basket. This way, sorry. You just follow me. I'll just show you. I won't even talk to you. You're going to dribble with your left. And you guys are a little bit younger. I'll give you 3 dribbles to get outside the 3-point line. 1, 2, 3. You need to get back to the basket. With our guys at the mat, they get 1 dribble. I'll let you guys have 2 because you're smaller. So you can get 2 dribbles, and you're going near side off the backboard. Near side off the backboard. You're going to take it out of the rim. Right hand doesn't touch. Coming out here. Same thing. Right here. Near side off the backboard. The only thing that touches the ball is your left hand. Go ahead. I'll talk you through it. You can do the same thing. Yep. Nice job. That's okay. That's okay. Don't let your right hand touch it. Put it behind your back. Put it behind your back. There you go. Now come up here. Come up here. Yep. That's okay. Backward. Backward. Come here. Come here. Yep. Backward. Backward. No, don't let that right hand touch again. I'm going to chop it off. Go ahead. Next guy. Next guy. Use the backboard every time. Near side backward. Near side backward. Keep going. Here's the other thing that, as a society, we tend to do as coaches. Basketball is overcoached and is undertaught. You guys can see I like to talk. I've never been short on words. I love to talk. But you know what can make me more valuable as a coach? Not when I'm at a clinic. Is to just shut up. Is to just be quiet and let players figure it out. You watch when they first started, 2 kids went at the same time and they started running into each other. I could step in there and stop the whole drill and have them start over. But I have enough faith in these kids. They're going to figure it out. We have to allow our kids to be problem solvers. We can't fix every mess that they create. We're coaching. You give instructions, you step away and let them figure it out. If you see anything that's either unsafe or just catastrophically wrong, you can give some coaching points, but always give your players a chance to figure some stuff out. Nice work. And freeze. Freeze. I say freeze and flip. These guys are doing a terrific job. Can you give them a hand? primary finishes that we'll work on. So the first time through, they will always use the backboard on the near side of the basket. That's the requirement. The next time, they're not allowed to use the backboard, so it needs to be over the rim, near side. The next time, opposite side, use the backboard, and then opposite side, no backboard. So when you're doing that, especially with young players, and you guys did a terrific job, and they're not allowed to use their dominant hand, that is really challenging. So we're working on different aspects of basketball athleticism, not just our finishing. We're working on hand-eye coordination, we're working on footwork, we're working on upper body strength when these players are this young, on proprioception. I mean, we're working on a lot of different things. And some of the shots that we'll take are not game-specific shots. Not everything that I do with our players is game-specific. Everything that I do is going to be movement-specific. So I'm not saying that the best shot for these kids is to do a reverse layup with their opposite hand. That's probably not the best shot. But it will build tremendous confidence with them if they can finish around the basket in a myriad of different ways. I'm pretty sure Drew will touch on it, but there's a lot of different finishes around the basket. The one that our players are in love with, you guys are probably like, I don't even know why you call it that, is the Euro step. Oh my God, every single player in America wants to be able to do this like Nana Ginobili. So that's one of the finishes that we'll do with our players. So you can do the same drill, but every time they have to finish with a Euro step. Every time they have to finish with a pro hop. Every time they have to finish with a pump fake. So you can again take one, I just showed you one wrinkle. I hope right now your wheels are spinning and saying, there's so many different things that we can add to this. This is just a way to add a layer. Now, at DeMatha, we're very fortunate, like this gym, we have 6 baskets. So if we were practicing right now with a full team, we would be using all of these baskets, so there would only be 1 or 2 players at each basket. For clinic purposes, I just want to show you guys this stuff. When we're actually talking about putting in work, we need to make sure that the work-to-rest ratio is appropriate for basketball. And it's very rare in the game of basketball that you work one time, and then you got 6 or 7 people just kind of standing around before the next thing happens. That, again, is just for clinic format. All right, so now we're going to move. You guys can come over to the feeder ball. You can come over to this side. We're going to go through some movement-specific warm-up stuff. That's 8 minutes until halftime. I was told we're going to give you guys a halftime break and let you stand up or do whatever. That's making you nervous. There's only 8 minutes. All right, so you guys are going to spread out. We're going to walk in this direction. You're going to keep your head up, chest up. We're just going to walk the ball. Head up, chest up, toes to nose, knee to chest. We're just going to walk the ball. So we're going to loosen up our hips. Go ahead, walk. I told you about perceived relevance. Anytime you can put a ball in a player's hands, you can increase perceived relevance. These guys are fascinated by having a ball in their hand. I mean, they can just go with their hands if they want. It doesn't matter. Anything that we do forward, we also have to do backward. So let's walk backward. You guys are doing a great job. Great job. Knee up, toes up. Knees up, toes up. The hip flexors are muscles that bring the knees towards the chest. As these get tired, they're going to start bending over. So they start bringing their chest to their knees, and it starts looking like this. Hip flexors are usually fairly underdeveloped with younger kids, so I understand that their hip flexors are tired. So we're still trying to promote good posture, and if we were at DeMatha, I don't want to be the only one talking to them. I want them talking to the guy next to them. You know, come on, Joey, keep your chest up, shoulder blades back. So I want them talking to each other. We're going to put the ball down, we're going to face in this direction. Butt down, chest up, shoulder blades back. We're just going to walk the ball nice and slow. Walk the ball. Now, as you get tired, you're going to let your feet open up, you're going to round your back, you're going to look like it. Not very athletic, right? So we don't want to do that. You can see somebody in front of you. If you see them doing a good job, tell them, butts down, walk the ball. That's it. There's somebody. I'm not a big believer in doing static stretching before you play. I want to do movement-based stuff. So we're working on mobility in the hips and the groin. We're working on what we need to do, and same thing going back. Same thing going back. Now, once again, I'm sharing what I believe. I did not say that static stretching before you play is wrong, because there is no right or wrong. I just say that I don't prefer it and I don't do it because I don't believe it. So that's, when you're with our guys at DeMatha, this is the type of stuff that we do to get ready to practice, to get ready to play. But I've had that question come up a lot. I'm going to take them through a full warm-up, and then the question is, well, when do you stretch? We don't. That was the stretching. This is what gets our players prepared to play. So we don't have them sitting there doing 1, 2. That's not doing anything to get anyone mentally or physically prepared to play. All right, now to work on your hamstrings. You're going to take the ball and you're going to reach it out in front of you as far as you can. Then you're going to take a couple steps and reach it out in front of you. I want you to try to get your back leg parallel to the ground and walk. Go ahead. Nice. You guys are a great group. And I forgot to mention this. Just to keep this flow going, that's why I don't take questions right now. If you have any question, just write it down so you don't forget. And then if there's time at the end, we can do a Q&A. I know we're doing one as a group tonight, or you just find me anytime this weekend and ask me your question. But make sure you write it down. Most of you think you have a good memory. You will not remember your question if you're just like, oh yeah, I'll ask him later. You won't remember. Yeah, same thing going back, guys. You won't remember it later, so just make sure you write it down and I'll answer every last question before I head home.
Must come down. Stop like front. Must come down.
4 minutes on the clock, that's making me nervous. I don't like that. I got so much to do. I spent so much time gathering, I didn't get it all done. I'll be back tomorrow, don't worry. Huh? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Like I say, you don't need to let them leave. They're allowed to stand up, lock the doors, nobody's leaving. Nice job. Now the other thing that I'll add, and I believe this is old and this is cliche, but I believe 100%, and that's nothing of substance can be performed without enthusiasm. You will not accomplish anything in your life, on the court or off the court, if you don't have some type of passion or enthusiasm for what you're doing. Now, Spencer hit it brilliantly, and this is something that I still have a lot of work that I have to learn about, is the hype number, and figuring out what's an appropriate amount of passion and enthusiasm to share externally. And I'm fascinated by that, and I'm going to pick his brain later on that. So I'm not saying that every one of these kids needs to be doing cartwheels right now, and chest bumps and jumping around, but they have to have some type of intensity and some type of passion that they're ready to bring to the workout. And again, depending on what their height number is, they'll show it externally a little bit different. But what I always tell our guys, every time they get back to a line, they need to fist bump somebody else. They need to high five somebody else. They need to do something to show the person next to them externally that they care about them. So it's, great job, man, I appreciate you. You're taking great pictures, that's awesome, man, I appreciate you. Talk to your teammates. Now, if I'm a height number at an 8 or 9, I might be a little more boisterous when I say that. If he's a 2, he might do what he just did. Just give me a little grin, a little fist pound, that's fine. I'm not trying to change anybody, but you need to always let the person next to you know, I care about you. I'm here to get you better. See, basketball is not a me game, basketball is a we game. And we have to make sure we're doing that with everything that we do with our players. And we have to make these things habits. So every time you get back, I want you to task somebody. Get somebody a fist bump. Say something to them. Go ahead. Speak to each other. And then it'll become contagious. It might be a little forced at the beginning. It might feel a little bit fake. But over time, you'll start to build that chemistry. Okay, this time we're going to take the ball. You're going to step out into a lunge. You're going to twist 180 degrees. Step into a lunge, twist 180 degrees. Go ahead. Nice. So we're stretching out the hip flexors. We're building some strength in the legs and hips. We're working on some rotational movement. If they're keeping their eyes in line with the ball, it's really challenging from a balance standpoint. So they're working on balance.